started. We recorded this video at a place called Methodist Ladies College, and just for any Americans, college doesn't mean university. A lot of times it means secondary school or high school, but in the case of Methodist Ladies College, they also have a junior college for primary school as well. Hope they clear things up.
Hi.
Hey everybody, so we're coming to you today from Methodist Ladies College, or MLC as they call it here. So today our daughter's in a gymnastics competition. It's a break time, had a little extra time, so we thought we'd take this opportunity to come out and talk a little bit about one thing that's a bit different from where we're from in the States, which is the public versus the private education system.
Yeah, so MLC is one of the most famous girls' schools in Melbourne. It's located in Kew, and it's been a long debate for local people, even struggling between should you choose private school or public school. There's pros and cons for each different style, and people are passionate about the debate. We still haven't really made our final decisions. Right now our daughter is in public school. We're happy with the community, but we're also looking at our options. So we'll talk a little bit about the pros and cons.
Yeah, so first off, just the sheer number that, of course in US there's private schools as well, but it tends to be that you've got many more students are in the public schools, and the public schools tend to be very large. Here it looks like it's really about roughly 50-50, and the size of the schools, I mean some of the private schools are huge, like the MLC, I mean it's a really big campus, a lot of kids, they've even got on-campus housing for a lot of the kids to live in, so the education quality and how people feel about it, you get extremes on both sides. So you get some people that are just die hard, public is better, and you get some people that are die hard, private is better. But the truth is a lot of people are really stuck in the middle, that who knows, and it is an ongoing debate that nobody can say which one is better or worse, but one thing is true is that the cost obviously is a lot different. For the public school, it's technically completely free, but what you find out is that it's like any school, even in the US, that there's a lot of fundraisers.
Yeah,
so,
donations and events. It's not major donations, it's just a few dollars here and there, but it does require more parents' time, so you do contribute your time more, and that equals
your time has value as well. But yeah, so you do have to give some, because it's standard here that basically every school is going to have school uniform, and so if you add it all up, if you tried to cut it to the bone in a public school, you probably would be putting in, say, $200 to $300.
More than that. So it's a few $100 for, I think it's like $300 every year for just basic books and stationaries that's required. And uniform, if you buy all new, it could be a couple $100 also, but they all have secondhand stores that you can go to. So cost is pretty low, and
you can control it pretty well. But then for private schools, boy,
there's excursions also. Excursions are normally like $30-$50.
And so if your kids are going to go to the zoo or go to the art gallery, they're actually really good about that, and I like that. Gets kids out, being a part of the community, part of culture.
Yeah.
But yeah, the cost for private schools, they've got a couple different tiers. And so they've got smaller ones, less formal ones. A lot of them are partnered with, especially the Anglican churches. And you can get in for as low as, say, $15,000. It's a year or semester? 10 to 15 per year.
Yeah, and that's basically half price than a normal regular
and so the full-on private schools like MLC, you're looking at
20-something K.
At minimum 20, can get up to like 30K.
Yeah, and that is not tax protected.
Yeah, it's not tax deductible.
So that is your net income. You pay 20-something K for the education instead of, compared with in US, you pay, I think that is tax protected. tax
Yeah.
deductible.
Yeah. So to get to the debate though, like what Australians talk about it. So first off, if you take a look at the test scores, in a lot of cases it's pretty comparable. If you look at the best public and the best private,
it's
the
pretty-
test scores end up being about the same. So there's a big debate. What are you paying all that money for if it's not a better level of education? And so the people that argue for public schools, they say, well, it's a better, you get a bigger swath of children attending, so it makes the children more diverse, more what is it,
Yeah,
like
just
strong versus being able to handle different situations, different cultures.
Yeah, yeah. So we have friends who it's not always a consideration for income to choose one or the other. We have friends, people who absolutely can afford private school, but they intentionally choose public because they feel like their kids need to experience all kinds of people, all kinds of environment, and experience diversity. That is just what makes Australia a good place to live. They don't want their kids to be in a protected
Bubble.
environment, that doesn't really represent how the society really is like.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then you go on the other side, and if you go to the top tier private schools, you're going to be surrounded by kids of doctors, lawyers, politicians, sports stars, actors, and some people they choose to go that route, not just for the education, but because it's that networking idea that
For the connection.
yeah, so you get connection. But then the question is, well, how much is that really worth? If you have a kid that decides to be goth and separate, well, then are you paying all this money for your kid to, be sour in the corner? So it comes down to what are you paying for? If you're paying for education, then a lot of the public schools are just as good
Yeah.
as the private schools.
Yeah, their score might even be higher than
Yeah.
some of the
In a lot of
private
cases.
schools. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's all about that community side that I think it's a hangover from English culture, right? So that you go and you stay in these communities around people that you're associated with, but at the same time, Australians are very much an open culture, and that's why you get a lot of people that prefer the public schools. So there is this big debate back and forth about which one's better, which environment's better.
Yeah, we've had people talking about they went to private school when they were young and they hated it. They wish they stayed in the public. And we also listened to some radio debate, like people with different situations, they loved or hated the other. I think it really comes down to the individual situation, like how your kids are and what you want from the system. If it's just score, performance, academic performance, and understanding the diversity, experiencing the diversity, public might be the best option. But if you want that certain class of connection and you want your kid to be protected in this comfortable environment, private might be the good option.
And private also has, we mentioned excursions. At private schools, a lot of times they can take some really extreme, big scale excursions too that the public schools just won't do.
Yeah.
Not on the same scale. So it's a
Yeah.
good experience as well for there. But one of the really common things you find many parents do is that they'll transition over, so they do the mixed plan.
Yeah.
So I'd say easily, I don't know, let's just say 70-80% of primary school kids, elementary school age kids, they'll start out in the public system.
Yeah.
And then as you start getting up around, the year 5, 6, there's this slow attrition as they slowly transition off to the private schools.
Yeah.
And so you'll go into the public schools and you'll have hundreds of kids in the first grade.
Yeah.
And then as it steps through, it's kind of like a pyramid as it goes down.
Yeah, in our school they even combine 5th grade and 6th grade
Yeah.
because there are not enough
Yeah.
students.
Because it shrinks down. That's right. And then then they move them off to the private system,
Yeah.
so that they can finish their secondary school, the high school level, in the private system. So
Yeah.
that's the kind of the mixed plan. I think that's one of the more common ones that a lot of parents go for.
Yeah. So my feeling is the hardware, like the facilities and buildings, these things are absolutely better in private school because there's just more funding. But we've heard that actually for teachers' quality, public school have a pretty good teacher
It's actually a really good point to bring up that the teachers in public versus private, you don't get this huge difference. It's not that if you go to the private schools, you're going to get a bunch of PhDs teaching
Yeah.
your class. That the quality of the teachers really is about the same.
And I think public school teachers are paid more. We heard from somewhere. Didn't validate it, but that's just.
So take it
we
for what it's
heard.
worth. All right. So I think that's a good
Yeah.
summary. Anything else you want to add? No. Good. Good. Yeah. All right. So I think that's everything. Hope we didn't forget anything. If you got any questions, comments that you want to dig more into, feel free to leave a comment. We'll get back to you.
Yeah, maybe we can put up the heat map link that you
Yeah. So
produced.
there's a
There's a
breakdown
data
just for Melbourne.
scientist.
It's not doesn't touch Sydney.
Yeah.
But just to give you a view of the school ranking in the city, and you can see the comparison, public versus private
Yeah,
in terms
to
of test scores.
to decide where to live.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, thanks guys. See you next time. Bye.